Hello, everyone. Welcome back to In the Yard podcast with your hosts, Collin Savala and Braeden Cox. And today we're joined by a very special guest, our good friend, Connor Pandolfo. Thank you for joining us today, Connor.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So Connor's like us, a Yankees fan, but even bigger overall baseball fan. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, just baseball. And I think we're going to start with the Max Scherzer incident from yesterday as we record.
Absolutely.
Today's the 21st. And the Max Scherzer incident happened yesterday, right?
Yeah.
I think it happened on Wednesday.
All right.
Was it Wednesday? Oh, yeah, you're right.
All right, well, 2 days ago.
And it was day game in LA.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So, 2 days ago, Max Scherzer, I'm sure many of you have heard by now, Max Scherzer was removed from the game because he had a foreign substance on his hands. And then I think we found out later that day that he actually got a 10-game suspension out of it. So, Connor, I'm going to start with you. What are your overall thoughts with this whole situation?
Yeah, so I mean, typically when you catch anyone red-handed doing something they're not supposed to do, they kind of shrug their shoulders and accept their punishment and move on. I think Max Scherzer was quoted as saying I promise you on my kids' lives, I'm not cheating. So I definitely believe that, deep in his heart, he really thought he was doing the right thing and trying to follow the rules. I also think that the MLB umpires are quoted saying that it was the stickiest stuff they've ever felt on anyone's hand.
Yeah, I saw that too, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's, there's a tough situation to be in. I think, there's a couple different factors that kind of played into it. I know he was sent in to wash his hands. He had to change gloves the inning before. I know that I think he said that he washed his hands with alcohol in front of an MLB official. I was trying to research today what alcohol would actually do, how alcohol would actually mix with rosin. And it was I was assuming it was isopropyl. I can't say that word. But that alcohol mixture, really all it does is disinfect.
Yeah.
It's really not a soapy mixture.
Right.
So it really is possible that an MLB official told him to wash his hands with alcohol. After he washes his hands, he really doesn't get the rosin off. And then he goes and he hits the rosin bag again, and he comes out, and now he has double the rosin he had before because the old rosin didn't wash off, even though he did just wash his hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, thanks for that breakdown, Connor. I also saw, I don't know if this is true or not, he was, using electrical tape in the dugout or something.
I didn't see that.
So, the residue from the electrical tape, I don't know. I heard that. I don't know if that's true or not. That could be another factor. Braeden, what are your thoughts on the Max Scherzer thing?
I think Connor kind of hit the nail on the head there. I mean, it's a very weird situation because, and fact check me, right? But it was the third inning, they checked him, and they're like, okay, you need to go wash your hands with alcohol. And then the MLB official was standing next to him while he did it, right? So he was listening to what they were saying. And then the next inning goes by, and then they made him change his glove, and then they threw him out because he started to almost get fired up about it. And I can kind of understand why. I would be fired up because if I thought that I was following the rules, right? And the referees or the umps are telling me, you need to do this because you're not complying, and then I comply, that tells me that you're trying to follow the rules. And if we're being honest, if the ump went to Max Scherzer and said, you need to clean your hands because, this is a little too much rosin on your hands or whatever, right? And then he goes and does it with an MLB official, wouldn't he be kind of stupid to go out there and, try again, right? That's the way I looked at it. I was like, this doesn't make any sense because, and that's why I was a little bit fired up when we were talking about it before, Colin. I was like, he tried to comply, right? He thought he was following the rules. He tried to comply. He did everything he could, and then they still threw him out, right? It's just it's a very weird situation, and I understand, listen, if he broke the rules, he broke the rules. The 10-game suspension, that's the rule. I get it. But like you said, Connor, like he said he swore on his kid's life. It's really hard for me to believe that like he had genuine ill intent. And then I also saw a stat, and I don't know the name of the umpire, but there's been like 3 or 4 pitchers who have been have been tossed out of games this year because of it, and he has been the ump for every single one of those toss outs. So he's like he's the one behind all this. Maybe he's just like tougher than the other umps or something, but I don't know. It's just a really weird situation with that added on top of it. Maybe it's the MLB trying to send a message like it happened to Hermain like a week ago, right? They kept him in the game. Now it's Scherzer, and now they're like, okay, let's make a point out of him, right? So it's done, so it doesn't happen again. But like Connor said, like it's a very weird situation, and it's hard for me to believe that Scherzer went out there 2 or 3 consecutive innings and was like, oh, I'll get away with it this time. Like I don't believe that.
Yeah. So when this first happened, I had 2 thoughts to start. So one was I'm surprised that he's not appealing his 10-game suspension.
So
but I could see why because
he's like, there's no way I'm going to win.
Pitcher,
he said, there's no way I'm going to win.
Yeah, but I feel like it should be the same thing as like innocent until proven guilty. There would be nothing to prove him guilty besides Phil Cuzzy's word, right?
Is there any?
That would be the only thing that would make him guilty, but that's besides the point. Obviously, MLB rules aren't the same as government rules. So yeah, I'm just surprised that he didn't appeal that 10-game suspension. But at the same time, it's like, what's 10 games for a pitcher? Like if they time it right, 1 start probably.
It's probably 2. Yeah.
Yeah, one maximum 2. So like add 2 starts.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world, but still, like 2 starts out of one of your top 2 pitchers isn't ideal.
Yeah.
Like missing 2 of those, obviously, because those 2 games would probably become.
So this says that
big games at the end of the season when the standings are in.
Yeah. So this says that he dropped the appeal because after learning that it wouldn't be heard by a neutral arbitrator, which doesn't make much sense to me.
Yeah, like something with there's a neutral arbitrator and an MLB official arbitrator. And since it'll be with an MLB official arbitrator, then
he'll never win.
He's not going to win because he'll be on like more biased with the commissioner and
of course,
probably the umpire union as opposed to that player union neutral field.
Yeah.
And then my second thought to this was, there's a lot of I think they first really implemented like this no foreign substance rule. Like I think it was 2021, like right.
I think that's when they started really cracking down on it.
That's when they started cracking down on it, checking everyone's fingers, checking everyone's hand, checking the gloves. That was 2 years ago. And I just feel like there's so much gray area within the rule because, one, if rosin is sticky enough, which if you mix it with sweat, rosin, like salt from sunflower seeds, pine tar, like it's probably going to get super sticky. How could they distinguish that from something like spider tack? Or like something that's actually illegal. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of gray area in this rule.
Yeah.
And players are like following the rules, but I guess the MLB just really doesn't want the pitchers to have any advantages because, like, similar to these new rules, obviously they want a lot more offense than what we've been seeing.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what all the new rules were, is creating more offense. So they're also cracking down on all these like foreign substances because they just want to see more offense. I feel like that's what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
And eventually, I wonder if it's going to come to a point like in the future where you can't have anything. Like it'll just be your sweat and like maybe like your saliva from when you lick your fingers, but that'll be it. So I'm just curious to see where this is going to go after this incident here.
But even when you lick your fingers, you have to wipe off.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could like. I think you're allowed to lick your fingers as long as you're not on the mound.
I'm pretty sure before you step on the mound that you have to wipe your wipe your.
Well, even still, I bet you your saliva is not as sticky as like rosin.
But that's exactly the point right there. Is one person saying, "Oh, you can lick your fingers," the other, "Oh, you have to do it on your pants before you get to the actual mound." It's like there's a gray area clearly, right? Like it seems like players like. They're trying to follow the rules, right? But like you said, Colin,
it's how they enforce it.
Exactly. right? Like you said, Colin. Like, how can they distinguish rosin from spider tack? How? Like, they must be taught, which I'm sure, like, they've been, like, educated on all that. But another point to this is, like, it's inconsistent. It's like what you just said, Connor. Like, we're Yankee fans here. Why wasn't Hermaine thrown out the other day then? Right? Like, that's the thing that I'm confused on. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, if they catch you, to me, you should be gone, right? If you're breaking the rule, you should be gone, right? They kept letting Hermaine, like, get away with it, but you didn't really know what was going on, and then the Twins manager got thrown out because he made an issue of it. And now Scherzer, like, gets caught with it, whether he did or not, like, who knows? And now, like, he's thrown out immediately, or not immediately, but, like, it's very interesting, so.
No, I agree too, and like the thing with Herman, to me, it almost feels like the MLB didn't like the way that the umpires handled that situation with Herman, and so they sent out a memo that was like, this is how this should be handled, and it came up right away with Scherzer, and it was like, it doesn't matter that it's Mad Max, it doesn't matter that it's the Mets, it's like, you're gone,
right?
Yeah,
so I think they were making an example out of him. Especially like right now, earlier on in the season. And I honestly think, now that I think about it, the big picture is that they want more offense. And so that means less sticky stuff for pitchers, obviously less spin rate, less velocity if they don't use
that. That could be. It could just be their way of sending a message.
Yeah, sending a message and then I feel like their overall goal with this is to just have more offense, just like all their other new rules and such. So, which I feel like is my overall take on that. So
yeah.
And the other thing too is like, if you're I've been exploring Baseball Savant today on Max Scherzer's page, and if you look at his spin rate from last year, so far it's consistent with his last year's stats. Mm-hmm. If you look at his like horizontal and vertical break over his entire 14-year career, they're pretty consistent. If you pull up someone like, no offense to Garrett Cole, but I think Garrett Cole definitely has been accused of using spider tack. You can see Garrett Cole has this kind of like slight decline on his four-seamer.
This year.
Yeah, from what, last year? I mean, he's located.
I'm messing with you. Keep going.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like those pitchers like Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, Garrett Cole, like, even though they're using the sticky stuff, they are that good that they can still dominate.
They can overcome it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think I got all my thoughts down on it. I didn't really feel like I think Max should have been, like, I guess accused, like, not guilty. Like, I feel like he should have not got suspended. I feel like he shouldn't have gotten kicked from the game, and then let alone a 10-game suspension on top of that. But like you said, they're probably just trying to make an example out of him. So
yeah, I mean, and again, it's an automatic suspension. So if they suspect you're using a foreign substance, it's not like, we're going to give him a 10-game versus a 5 or whatever. It's like, no, it's an automatic 10-game. And he was just like, well, it's not going to be a neutral arbitrator, so I'm not going to appeal it. I'm just going to bite the bullet. And like you said, it's like 1 or 2 starts maybe.
Yeah.
Big deal.
I mean, Max Scherzer has kind of had his drama in the past.
Sure.
But I feel like...
But has he really?
Like, not really. Like, similar instances to, like, this. Like, it wasn't like undisputed, this guy deserves a suspension. But he's always had that, like...
I think he's been ejected 4 times in his career.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, what that means, 4 times over 14 years.
I guess that's true. It's only it's 14 years, though.
I think his first MLB season was 2008. Like,
But he's also been injured for like half of it, so.
True.
All right. I don't know where I was going with that. Maybe I'll tell my brother to cut it out.
No, you're good. Anyway.
No, where did I see the other day? Where it was, I forget what it was. I should have done my research better. Doesn't matter.
Team started. Max Scherzer has started at least 30 games in all but 1, 2, 3, 4, like 3 or 4 of his MLB seasons.
Okay.
And that includes a 2021 COVID year, right?
Yeah.
Or is 2020 the COVID? 2020
No,
was the COVID.
2020, yeah.
Yeah.
So regardless, he's been pitching for 14 years, and he's been rather consistent with spin rate and all that, right? So it's not, and like you said, Garrett Cole is a good example of someone who, not saying it is for sure, but might be using or have used an illegal substance in the past.
Right.
Cool.
All right, yeah, I think that wraps it up for my thoughts. You guys have anything else to make off your chest?
Not for sure,
About
or
the
no.
matter?
I mean, 10-game suspension might be just a little too much. I get it because it's the rule, but I don't know. The whole situation just seems kind of all out of whack with me, especially considering it's the same ump that threw out the other pitchers, earlier in the season.
Yeah. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of stuff, like calling him a cheater,
Yeah, so bye.
Like, they're, like, not... Like, they're the complete opposite view of us. I'm like, how do you know? Like, you have no idea whether or not he actually used any
Those
legal
are just
substance or not.
they're just haters. You know what I mean? Like
They're
at
just
the end of
hating,
the day, they're just hating because like
It's the
what,
Mets,
what do you
it's Max
know? You don't
Scherzer,
know
yeah.
anything. You don't know what he's using.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Cool.
Awesome.
Connor, got anything else?
No, I think Max Scherzer is that's a 14-year veteran move, just taking the suspension.
Yeah.
Probably by the recommendation of the Mets, just saying, hey, it is what it is. We just have to accept it and move on. I think that's a real professional move. But besides that, thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool.
Of course. Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. In the Yard, Collin, Braeden, and our guest, Connor. Hope you enjoyed the show. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you, everyone.
Yep. See you next time.
Go Yanks.